What's shaking, everybody? My name is Ross Mandell. I'm coming to you guys live today from Delray Beach, Florida. I'm at Scott Woolley Studios. I have a treat for you all today. He's a treat for me, and he's a treat for anybody. He's got a top Amazon best-selling book. I mean, it made the bestseller list in 2 days. He's a United States Marine Corps veteran, combat veteran. He didn't just enlist. He actually saw some tough stuff. He's a real money guy. He's an architect of one of the fastest growing life insurance agencies on planet Earth. He is a dad. He knows what it is to be broke, bankrupted, and, really just at the end of your rope. But like most successful guys that have tasted, that sort of defeat, he rose up. He came back. He's raised in Chicago. He's a Filipino, which shocked me because I seem to have a lot of those types in my life right now, and I'm so grateful because everyone I meet is hardworking, intelligent, has great family values, etc. Help me all welcome Matt Sapaula.
Ross, great to be with you. Honored to be with the Kang of Wall Street. Let's go.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. And, you're known as a money smart guy.
Yeah, it's a handle.
How did that come about? Tell us how that came about.
Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago would host something called the Money Smart Week every April. And they would recruit financial services companies around the community to come in. We do a planning meeting for about 4, 5, 6 months to launch free financial literacy classes throughout Chicagoland area. And they put it on the Federal Reserve Bank calendar. So anybody in Chicago can come to these, how to open up your checking account, how to get insurance, how to plan a retirement, basically any financial literacy class. And through the planning meetings, they say, Matt, you'd be good for doing PR for us. I said, I've never done radio before. I've never been TV before. But sure, if it's your budget. But Matt, pitch the Federal Reserve Bank Money Smart Week before you pitch your business. Be classy about it. I said, no problem. And it was cool because I was able to go on their budget and get this exposure.
Sure.
And so I kept doing this. And I was officed at an executive, kind of like a WeWork. And the reception, right? And the reception would pick up. And I hear the earshot. It says, hello, Matt Sapaula's office. How may I help you? Which Matt? Because there's two Matt Franzel who did
I know where you're going now. I love it.
Yeah, right. And then and here I am. And she goes, which Matt? Oh, you're talking about Matt. Who? The Money Smart guy? Oh, he's gonna love this. Hold on one second. Hey, Matt, ABC, they didn't know your last name. They just asked the guy that does Money Smart Week stuff. You know, the Money Smart guy.
Boom, bro. Bang. Boom. I love it. I mean, that's great. That's the funny thing about life. That's where most great things come from. You stumble on something accidentally, you hear something, and bam, that's you, the Money Smart guy. I mean, now I want to say to our audience, you have a huge following on Instagram and social media, YouTube. You got a really successful YouTube channel. I mean, how long you been at banging out social media?
I would say the last 6, 7 years.
Wow.
Concentrated effort on social media. 2 months ago, we did get hacked. We did a live stream when Charlie Kirk sadly got assassinated. And we're doing a live stream. Next thing you know, a bunch of hackers came our way. I don't know what happened. But after that live stream video about Charlie Kirk, the next day we were hacked. And then they were doing some live stream on crypto. And I believe in cryptocurrency personally myself. I just don't put it on my YouTube channel. I'm in the insurance space, so I just choose to have it. Personally, for me, if anybody's asked me, do you put money aside crypto? Yeah, I do. But you're not going to find me with any content. I defer that to the experts that aren't in my space. And so YouTube just said, hey, you're putting some content there. It's kind of weird, kind of odd. You're ripping people off. I said, that's not even us.
Wow.
And they shut me down, and I had a campaign to get my YouTube channel back. But we're back up now. We're about 369,000 subs the last time I saw it.
It's a big number. So you're monetizing, correct?
Yeah, we monetize it mainly for offline stuff. So I may not monetize it on Google AdSense, but my team, our office, our guys use it. They stumble across it, use it as training videos, because that's the motivation behind it. Because I have a national sales team, and I wanted to create videos that they can use for training in their offices for their agents or potentially their clients. They want to get more educated on retirement planning and life insurance and annuities.
So the Money Smart guy, he got hacked. I mean, that's I found last night. Just so you know, I woke up. I went to bed around midnight. I woke up for some reason 4:30 in the morning, and I'm up, so I look at my phone, and I see on a thread that Ross Mandell is directing some guy to some WhatsApp number, and I'm like, Ross Mandell, that's not me. I didn't do this. It's not me. I see there's no blue check mark next to the Ross Mandell. So I had to report it. It's the third time in the last 2 days I found like these bootleg accounts trying to redirect someone that's commenting to get them to a WhatsApp channel so they can probably do something nefarious, right? It's tough.
And they think that it's you.
Well, yeah, because it says my name and it's got my picture. It just doesn't have the blue check mark. Somehow they create these fake accounts. I can't believe that Instagram or Facebook allows that. I mean, it's usually they make you show an ID or something, but maybe not. If you're not verified, maybe that's not the case anymore. I don't know. But I'm a rookie. I'm in my rookie season as a podcaster. This is my first year. I'm a rookie. Well. Listen, today we were like number 23 on Apple. I couldn't believe it. In self-improvement, and like 27 or 28 in education. You know, and I'm so grateful and humbled by the whole thing, because we're just feeling our way through it. You know, I have a nice little team, good people. But again, it's like I spent my whole life in the stock market, the capital markets, that sort of a thing. I have mad respect for you because, you know, I've known life insurance people. When I started at E.F. Hutton in 1983, I was licensed in life, accident, and health. It was a requirement of these, you know, big wirehouse training platforms. And I actually did sell. I did a few deals. And then later in life, I used, you know, the sort of the tax advantaged benefits of wrapping a life insurance policy around various, let's call them security products, and accumulating money tax-free, tax-deferred, et cetera. And I want you to share about this. But so you help people generally. People don't understand what you do, generally speaking, the services you provide. You help people save money, protect their families. You know, God forbid there's a problem. Let's talk about it.
Sure. You know, I was about to say, I was going to give you your flowers, because in our education of teaching people about life insurance, I mean, one of the original creator of universal life insurance was E.F. Hutton. Correct. And so E.F. Hutton created that. And when the 82, 84, and 88 tax laws came into effect, which introduced TEFRA, DEFRA, and TAMRA, which are life insurance codes inside our software that we have to be in compliance with when we're funding these policies. Because back in the day, people had get like $1,000 life insurance policy, but they put $100,000 in cash in it to shelter it from taxes.
Right.
And so Wall Street got mad at it. You know, they got into the politicians. They said, "Hey, we can't have an exodus of money from our brokerage accounts and bank accounts into insurance policies. Require that people have a significant amount of life insurance to justify the definition of life insurance." That's where TEFRA came in, Tax and Fiscal Reconciliation Act of 1982. So if you had $100,000 of cash value, the law then required you to have a substantial amount of life insurance to go along with it. You just can't pack, you know, that much cash.
When you say a substantial amount of life insurance, you're talking about the death benefit, right?
That's correct.
Yes.
That's the death benefit. That's right.
Right. So you can't just grow money tax-free. You have to actually fund a potential benefit. But I don't understand why you would not. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you pass away, you want your family. My dad passed away when we were 16. And my family was dead broke. We lived in the American dream. Everything was mortgage, borrowed, and leased. But my dad and his partner put in a small amount of money in some sort of life policy. You know, I was 16. I was so young, I didn't really understand it at that time, and we never really discussed it. And my mother did get a couple of $100,000. He was 48 years old. He died suddenly of a heart attack. So, you know, anybody asked me about life insurance.
What year is that, Ross, when your father died?
1973.
So a couple $100,000 back in 1973, it was a lot of money.
A lot of money. Well, it allowed me to go to college. It allowed us not to have to sell the house, you know, but still my mother was like, she had never worked. So she was like, and she was, you know, she was, I think 38 years old. Dad was 48. And they were really leveraged because my dad was just starting to build and grow a real business. He had like a term policy where he paid a certain amount of money, you know, a traditional sort of, you know, policy. But, you know, you are much more sophisticated than that. Your teams, I mean, I'm sure you still sell term policies, but today it's become a real financial planning vehicle. Isn't that
That's
correct?
right. And I'm glad you're saying this, Ross, because most guys on Wall Street, most guys in New York wouldn't even say that. And I think one of the first videos we found reacting to, we actually reacted to one of your videos. So I was honored that your staff reached out to us to interview on your podcast, because we reacted to, I think the comment was that you use money as capital. It's a tool, and here's a guaranteed way for you to make $70,000-$80,000 a year.
70 grand a month. 3.3 million views and climbing. Hundreds of thousands of likes and comments. You use the tax advantages of a policy that, yes, E.F. Hutton was there. I was getting schooled in it in 1983. I started there in their training program. I was registered in 1984, February 84. I sold my first policy February of 84.
There you go.
A few of them, but I didn't really understand this whole thing at the time. And I remember the TEFRACs, all those different things. But, later in life, I became fairly wealthy when I took myself public, and, I made like 45 million in one day.
Let's go.
In June of 02. Yeah. And then in March of 04, I made like 80 million bucks in one day.
There you go.
I mean, it was like that kind of a thing. And I structured it all that. And then, of course, I had access all my financial planning people. My insurance guy helped me, organize a lot of these things, because, things change and things develop. And if you want to be really successful, I think you have to sort of become laser focused on certain things. And I was more concerned about creating that kind of wealth, and then how do I shelter it, and how do I organize it, and am I in trust and offshore trust, and where am I? There's so much involved to when you have big pools of money to organize all that. And I want you to know I'm doing it again now. So we're building a media company, and it's very exciting because I know how to create the wealth. And now the rules have gotten so much more favorable. I mean, you can sell stock on social media, bro. I mean, what? I love it. Let's talk about you. You are, you grew up in Chicago. You mentioned the Chicago Federal Reserve and all that, Filipino descent.
Yes.
And you got married and you had 3 kids and you were a Marine. Tell us about early life and what happened, because I want people to understand the kind of man that we're sitting here in front of. You are a real man. And I thank you for your service. And I think the veterans have gotten the shit end of a stick in this country. And I think it's just outrageous. Their suicide rate, their homeless rate, the drug addiction. It's horrible. And, I'm actually, through my new media company, Raw Media, we created Raw Health and Wellness, and we're looking to help change that. Because those statistics get me sick as an American.
Yes.
Talk about your early life. And
I got married at 21, 22 years old, coming back from my last deployment. And just like any young man, didn't make the wise decision on who to get married to. Because I'm the thing with the wrong brain, if you know what I'm talking about. The one that doesn't think very much.
Do I know? I understand. Trust me.
And I didn't realize that the most powerful asset that one man can ever acquire in his life is a wife by his side. Not a woman, but a wife by his side. And I call my wife
a life partner, a real life partner.
That's right. And I call my wife a life multiplier, because everything I've given my wife, she's helped me multiply.
I love it.
I've given her my house. She made it a home. I was a broken family. I gave her my kids. She make a family. I gave her my seed. She made me a baby. I gave her my business. We created a national empire. My wife has done nothing in my life but to multiply. And when I got divorced, I was single for about 12 years. In my first book I wrote was called Faith Made Millionaire, because everything I have today, Ross, I don't say I'm self-made, or even better, I'm team-made if I was going to give credit. But brother, I am faith-made. The big man upstairs. And if you call me a man, because I believe in God. 100%. I believe in his involvement in my life and me following the Bible and the Torah. This is because the first part of the Old Testament there. And it's funny that you mentioned a lot of Filipinos are in your life. Well, I found lately, the last 10, 15 years, a lot of Jewish people come into my life.
Well, that's what happens when we make money. We can't help ourselves.
Yes. My second book, Gotcha, Rabbi Daniel Lapin wrote the foreword to it. And it says, listen, Jewish people disproportionately make more money than any other ethnic group in the world. And he got a lot of flack for that. That was a viral video on my YouTube channel. But now Rabbi Jason Sobel was just here yesterday, and we did a podcast, and he just did a rabbinical blessing over my son. And That's it. You know, when things are in order, a lot of things in your life operate much smoother, and it's pressure because you ask for it. That's the life you signed up for. But I haven't felt, Ross, in the last 22 years after following the Lord and running my business. I felt stress. I felt pressure. I felt a little bit of anxiety, but I have not felt stress. Stress that kills you. And so I now married my now wife. Here the last 10 years, we've been together 13. And we've created a national empire together in the insurance industry. We have offices coast to coast. One of the hardest states, I would say, Ross, for us to do business in is New York. We got agents in Long Island and Brooklyn.
Yep.
But the hardest state for us to do business with as a life insurance agent is New York. Actually, the insurance companies we do business with have to create another company just to offer products and services in New York. There's such political chaos there.
So much nonsense. That's why I left. I left New York. And and it's the craziest thing because, I'm making millions and paying 52% tax. They want this and that. And the quality of life just kept going down, down. That's worse now than when I left in, I think, 01, 02. We moved to
even worse now.
Yeah, it's much worse now. And now you got a socialist in there.
Yeah.
And we'll see what they do to this place. But I think that, there are some politicians that sold out this country.
Yeah.
And they sold us out. And that's why, these career politicians are worth 50, 100 million, retired now and all that kind of stuff. They came into office. They had no business. Like the Trumps, at least they have a business. I lived in Trump Tower. They know how to build buildings, manage buildings. There's no organization I ever felt like and I've had money and I've lived all over the place in different high-end, places. And they know how to run a building and run an organization. And I had very, very good dealings with them. And
when we go to New York, we stay at Trump. We stay at the Trump Hotel right there.
Yep. And I lived in a Trump World Tower, 90-story building. Derek Jeter, the captain of the New York Yankees, was in the penthouse, and so many famous people. It was like a whole scene. But the quality of life, they know how to build and run things. But you have a lot of career politicians. They never even had a business, and they make 180 grand a year. And how are they worth $100 million, $50 million? I don't get it.
Yeah, Nancy Pelosi.
Money is right. Money is money. Money. The numbers don't lie. So
what's that app? That autopilot? That app.
Yeah. They follow her investing. Worse than that. So I own brokerage firms since '95, right? And we had many, many United States senators and congressmen as clients.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd get a call, and my assistant would go, "Ross, Senator Presley's on the phone. He says sell X, Y, and Z and put it all into A, B, and C."
No way.
And 2 weeks later, there would be new legislation that allowed the new position to go up like 8 points. I'm not joking.
Wow.
I just called him out, Senator Larry Pressler, 3-term senator from South Dakota. Called him out right here because he badmouthed me, and all I've done is protect him. And he lied to the feds, and I protect him. And these guys are like, they think they're entitled because they get elected. They have this crazy sense of themselves. But so you get married at 21. You lived in Chicago. You're in the Marines. You did it. What'd you say? 8 years in the Marines. You saw real combat in Somalia. What was that like, bro? What?
It was like the movie I'd bring up is Mad Max. The Thunderdome. The wasteland. Everybody's fighting for gas and water and basic resources. The most horrific things I saw, Ross, was because our job was to provide humanitarian relief, and when we saw the UN drop pallets, and the people would come in, rushing, starving, needing medical supplies, needing rice, needing food. Women and children would run into these pallets. Next thing you know, the technicals come in with the trucks. The warlords would come in and gun everybody down because they're the ones controlling the food. They're the ones controlling the aid when it landed on the ground. And our rules of engagement were not to engage, even though we saw people getting murdered right in front of us.
That's crazy.
And then until we got shot at, and then next thing you know, we're lighting you up. Yep. And so, it was a sad sort of circumstances. Imagine a country where there's literally no law. It was the rule of the gun. It was the rule of the gang.
Sounds like Gaza.
Somalia. Yeah.
Sounds like Gaza now,
Yeah.
Just mob rule.
Yeah. And so the life lesson there is if I have somebody cross my life, Ross, they say America sucks. This, I said, go travel. Go
Right,
travel.
go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Go get back to me. All right. Spend a couple of weeks in Somalia or Gaza.
That's right.
I mean,
Yeah.
good luck.
Go campaign over there. Free what? Go over there.
Right.
Yeah.
I love when they say queers for Palestine. You know what they do, queers? You know what they do in Palestine to queers? They kill you. They cut your head off. There's no talking. These morons. So, you went, you're in the Marines, and you get back. You're a father.
Yeah. Yep.
And you got no money.
And I got no money, bro. I'm broke. And then to add more pressure, more stress. So I got divorced, and then the girlfriend I'm dating, because I got divorced, got into another relationship, just like most stupid
I get
dudes. Yep. And next thing you know, she's pregnant. Not only pregnant, but pregnant with twins.
Oh gosh.
And I remember driving from the hospital after the ultrasound, and I'm crying. I'm crying on 290, getting back into the city. I'm crying like literally because I could barely sell insurance. I was just new to the industry.
So you got into insurance. You actually got into the industry.
Yeah.
You got licensed. You passed the test. Who were you working for when you started?
I was working for Transamerica at the time, and then I went independent.
Wow.
And so I tried to do stuff on my own because there's no Transamerica at that time. There's no local mentor or coach. And this is before the internet. This is before Zoom. We're talking about 99 here, 2000.
Right. The world was different.
Yeah, it's different. There's hella more access.
Kids don't understand. Kids don't understand. I tell a story about like 1985, and they're like, "Why don't you just Google it?" And I'm like, "Bro, Google was still 15 years away from even an idea." What people don't understand what we went through. I mean, so you're a young insurance sales guy, really, right?
Yeah. And I took 3 jobs to support my upstart career.
I'm sure.
I was an Olive Garden burger. I was a Jiffy Lube hood tech if I wouldn't get any hours. And then I was a lifeguard from 8 o'clock in the morning at the YMCA. Just to pay the basic bills.
Right, to eat.
To get my insurance business. Because I knew, because what I was clear about, Ross, is I knew if I sold insurance policy, I'd make X amount of commission.
Right.
Which was worth a whole week's worth of wages, on these part-time gigs.
I get it.
So if I just get lucky selling an insurance policy, if I just get lucky selling an annuity,
it's not luck. It's not luck. The harder you work, the luckier you get. Right. That's what.
Amen to that.
And you know what? God understands. I don't know if God is, faith. You're faith based. I just like to use the word God because it's 3 letters. It rolls off my tongue. Some people get offended. It's a man upstairs, whatever you want to call it. It's it's good orderly direction. It's a higher power. I mean, there's so many. I'm spiritual. I'm not religious. Guess what? It's just a concept, right? And if you put your faith and trust in God, you're going to be okay. That's just my experience.
It's a great experience.
And so you went into a commission-based business because you understood something that a lot of young people don't understand. I've never worked for a salary my whole life, ever. I said, why would I ever want some guy to tell me how much I can make? I never understood that. You know what I mean? When I was a waiter, I was a cabana boy. I hustled for tips. Then when I got older, I worked for commission. Whether they paid me a draw or something or expenses, that was, okay, good. But it was all about commission. I don't want any man or woman to tell me what I can earn. I never understood that from day one. And people come to me, well, I'm working for, they're paying me, $600 a week. And I'm like, and? And they get trapped. They actually get trapped mentally and financially in a situation. Their overhead matches their salary, and they live in fear. Because the opposite of faith is fear.
Yeah. Because working on commission, Ross, causes you to improve. It forces you to improve. If you don't get better, you're not going to sell anything. And by the way, people that say I'm not good at sales, I'm not good at commission. Yes, you are. You just value you less. Than the person that actually understands what they're worth. Because your commission for working 40 hours a week is X amount of dollars on that salary. That's your commission, really. You just call it a salary. But if you understand that you're renting your income, you're not driving your ownership or your capacity and finding ways to be invaluable, That's what commission does. That's what working for yourself does. And that's why, for me, we can argue all day long about what capitalism, socialism, all this stuff going on. Listen, I'm 100% capitalist. I didn't realize it was capitalist until it became a word to me, working together with Patrick and David, that I'm a capitalist because it gives me the fighting shot.
Right.
Gives me a fighting shot. Even if I screw things up, I can restore myself by improving and growing and outlasting. And that's what a lot of people don't want to do. They don't want to deal with the setbacks, the failures, the rejection. But it's exactly what you need as fuel to the fire to get you to improve, to have you understand, man, this mirror that I'm looking at, this world of business, this the world of entrepreneurs, it's a mirror. It's going to give me a reflection I don't like right now. But guess what? That mirror ain't going to fix your problem. You got to fix that problem. Bam. But once you do, the world is at your feet. And then you can make millions of dollars like you, Ross.
Now, a life insurance agent, back in when you were just breaking in, right? They're making six figures? I was making $350 a year in the early 2000s. So I was able to be a single father, live in a better neighborhoods because I figured out the marketing system. I figured out how to mail to 5 different zip codes. This is pre-social media, right? I learned how to 5 different zip codes, mailers, people come to my dinner seminar. I pitched them on the 9 ways to cut taxes, which is basically talking about annuities. Correct.
Doing estate planning, using life insurance policy to wrap with grandma wants to leave her grandkids into an insurance policy. So therefore she can have more money freed up while she's living alive, or have that money for healthcare in case she needs to be in a nursing community.
100%.
That's the work.
And then you get a lot of residual income, right? You're building up your residual business, right? That's what it is.
Yes. And then I'm at a point right now where I'm acquiring. So some of my guys in our company, they're retiring after 10 years, 12, because they're now making a couple $1 million a year doing it. And I'm like, okay, if you don't want to do this, I want to do it because I got a bigger vision. I want to enter our company into the billion zone.
I love it.
Right?
That's my intention, so you know.
Yeah,
that's my intention. I'm making $1 billion print. I'm not interested in. I've already made a few $100 million. I'm not interested in that.
Yeah.
There's so many billionaires now. I want to be part of that club.
That's right. The B club, the B-boy club. That's it.
Well, it is. It's not, now you got Elon Musk to be a trillionaire. It's like, they keep moving the needle. You know what I mean? There's so much money and capital around. I mean, it's wild. Yeah. It's so wild. I'm now doing like a market report every day. Like everybody wants it. And I'm just talking into my phone, really, and just telling them what I think every morning about the markets. And it's like starting to blow up. But, you're right. So you're making $350. That's real money. That's a nice living. You weren't that old. You were in your 30s, right?
Yeah, early 30s. And then I made my first million mid 30s and then lost it. During the Great Recession, I threw it onto 4 units and 8 units here in Chicago, lost it. My business partner, I should have properly supervised, but it's my fault. I chose the wrong guy.
Now that was 08, 09, the too big to fail crash? Okay. Mm-hmm. I've lived through so many crashes, I have to always clarify it. That was a too big to fail crash. The United States government blamed that whole thing on me. In open federal court, correct.
Wow. What are you doing, mortgage-backed securities, or are you doing? No,
my firm did that for a minute. We were making about $400,000 a month. And then I asked people, they wanted to step it up. And I had a big meeting in my office. And I'm like, can anybody explain to me what happens if the market goes down? Nobody could explain it because we were in such a bull market, like sort of like what we're going through now and what we're about to go through in 26. It's going to happen again. It always happens. I was there in 1987. I lost everything,
Wow.
In 2000, the .com crash, I was ready for it because of what happened in 87. That's where I made as a result of that, I made my capital. By 08, 09, I was set. But the government, needed people to blame because all the banks that were too big to fail, they all failed, every one of them.
Yeah.
And they needed bailouts, right? So what happened? You put your money into some expensive real estate.
Yeah.
And you got whacked.
And that's how I knew that me sticking in the insurance business was the right move.
Correct.
Because I was dabbling in real estate. And for me, Ross, I wasn't around. I didn't have the wherewithal, the aptitude to be more of the stock jock, type of. For me, I was dealing with Main Street.
I get it.
Moms and pops.
Money's money, bro. Money's money.
Yeah. And then I realized, wow, I was about to leave insurance to go into real estate. Thank God I stayed in insurance. Because to me, when the stock market imploded, all these clients went from their brokerage accounts into fixed index annuities and fixed annuities, index universal life insurance policies.
I get it. I did myself. I get it.
Yeah. And then the same thing happened too during the pandemic. When the pandemic hit, I'm like, yep, thank God I stayed in the life insurance business, because our business exploded in a very good way during 2020, 21, because we went on Zoom. We were able to adapt. We were an essential worker. Our business exponentially grew. Oscar De La Hoya invested in 2017. Oscar De La Hoya and his team invested $10 million into our company, expand and grow it. And then in June of 2022, while on a trip to Paris, Monaco, we Patrick and David executed on a exit strategy, $250 million. I got a lot of stock in the company still. So that's
which
my
company?
next PHP Agency, people helping people.
Right. So we talked about that off camera, but I want to get that out now. So Patrick Bet David, tell us, did you know the guy or no?
PBD, I did not know him until a pastor introduced us in 07, 08. He said, because my sister was working for this pastor in Sherman Oaks called Shepherd of the Hills Church. So my sister's like, Kuya, which means older brother in Filipino. She says, Kuya, you got to meet my boss. So I meet Pastor Dudley Rutherford. Pastor Dudley, nice to meet you. He got to know me. He goes, you remind me of an Iranian version of you.
I get it. I get it. You look, I get it. I see it. The whole thing, I see it.
He tells Patrick, you remind me of a Filipino version of you. You guys need to connect.
Hysterical.
You're right.
That's
so we
hysterical.
end up connecting in 2009, but we don't really go into business together until January 2015. And that's when I met Patrick for the very first time 10 years ago. And then I was 41, 42 years old at the time. I said, Patrick, listen, I've been through a couple of reversals in my life. I just got married. And I tell Patrick right now, you got to coach me. You got to mentor me. If you know how for me to get from where I'm at today, make a $500,000 income, $750 million income, I want to get there. And Patrick looks at me and says, Sapaula, I'm not afraid to coach talent. Let's go. Let's roll. And my relationship with Patrick and David was mentorship. And if there's one thing he says in my book, he wrote the foreword to my book, Faith Made Millionaire. He said, there's one word that describes Sapaula, it's coachability. Meaning if I ask him to do one thing, he doesn't have to ask me 5, 6, 7 different times because he didn't like the answer. All he does is accept the answer, but incorporates it and gives me the results the next time we talk.
I love it.
I think that's why a lot of people today, for example, if people hear you, Ross, and you're coaching and mentoring from directly or from afar, they doubt Ross. But the guys that actually listen to you and they implement and they're coachable and they take your results because you've been there, done that. You're not talking from a position of theory, but you're talking from a position of experience and wisdom. And they incorporate versus doubt, they'll get that much further ahead. And that's where a lot of people are at today. They doubt the wisdom of people that have been there, done that. Because you can be smart, you can be two ways. You can be smart, which means what? Learning your way, learning from your mistakes. Or you can be wise, learn from the mistakes of others. What do you want to do?
100%. I use the word malleable. I have a coaching program. I have a mastermind program. And on Wall Street, this is before I went on my own, I was the guy that the owners of the firms I worked at would have me run a motivational program for guys making $500,000 a year that wanted to get to $1 million.
Yeah.
The guys who were doing $1 million to get to $2 million. Guys that were, stuck at like 250 to get to 750, 500, 600. Because in my life, I got stuck at various points on my journey. It's like very crazy. You can only go as far as your mentorship. So I worked for a guy and he was making, all he really made was like $400,000 a year, like a little over 30 a month. And I got up to 30 a month, but I couldn't get past that. So I left. I was at EF Hutton. I left that. My managers were like, that's what they made. And I went to Oppenheimer and Company. And my guy named Jordan Berlin, he was making about $600,000 a year. And I got to that point. I could do 50 a month, but I couldn't get past it. So I went to D.H. Blair, and now I'm working for a guy that's number 19 on the Forbes billionaire list today. And he created NASDAQ with Bernie Madoff. And he owned, all the market makers. They created NASDAQ. And I learned how to structure deals. I learned from the inside, the option warrant game, but also the private equity, that whole business, the venture capital game, structuring, building companies, creating your own stock. Rather than buying stock, I'm creating stock. And after that, like he said to me on my interview, everybody was offering me like $350,000 up front to go change hats, just go to a different firm, like an athlete, right? Wow. And he goes, I'm not going to give you anything up front. I said, really? I said, Morty, he goes, here's what I'm going to do. He goes, I've looked at your business. I'm going to give you 100% payout on your first $1 million.
Wow.
I said, Morty, it's going to take me, you know, a year, 2 years to get $1 million. He goes, no, it's not here. And I just, boom. You know, my third month, I started making over 100 grand a month. And then
Let's go.
it just took off. Never did under that. But up until that point, I was stuck because the places I worked and the guys I worked for just didn't understand you need, you know, if you create a certain platform and you plug in talent, and if people are malleable or coachable, I mean, you just eat it up. Why would you not? You know, it's like, you know, you can be a good fighter. You can be a good shot with a gun, but you go to the Marine Corps, they'll teach you how to be a soldier. You know what I mean? They'll teach you how to Semper Fi, bro, right?
Be a sniper. 1 shot, 2 kills.
Right. You got to learn from people that have, you know, sort of structured it, you know, and organized it. It's like when you play, you know, sandlot football, and then you go for the high school team, and all of a sudden, like, they're calling plays, and everybody's got a position, and everybody's got a certain, you know, a work product every day. This is what you're going to do on this play. This is what you're doing on that play, very specifically. And if you do this and you do that, we're going to score a touchdown. It was just really like it was a lesson for me. Organized sports versus, you know, basically what we call sandlot sports. You know what I mean? So you've written 3 books. Your newest book, I mean, Keep the Keys.
Let's go.
Tell us about that. I mean, what a great name. You explained it to me off camera. I want everybody to hear this.
Thank you. And by the way, I this is my expression now of using AI in my life.
I love it.
Because I was thinking about a book for homeowners, because the clients we deal with have property, have investments, have their own personal residence. Thank you, Darian. So there you go. Keep the K's. Because most people, when they see a realtor, when they see a mortgage professional, they're showing their best financial picture they've ever had in their entire life. They got they got the credit score, they got the down payment, they got the verifiable income. Boom, the right debt to income ratio, and finally they can buy a house.
Right. Exactly.
But it's one thing to get the keys, right? It's one thing to get the keys, but when life hits, and it will, it's another thing to keep the keys. And I've seen a lot of good homeowners, a lot of good real estate investors, because of lack of financial management and insurance strategy. They got the homeowners insurance strategy, which is great. They got a car insurance strategy, which is great, but they forget to insure the thing that actually pays for the thing, which is them. They're the machine that they forgot to insure.
Exactly right.
And so in addition to just basic term insurance, which a lot of people don't get because they think they have PMI, private mortgage insurance, it's for the bank. It's not for the homeowners, for the bank. People are so misguided today on that. For example, Ross, I was on a book tour stop in Sacramento, ran across a guy who was having Starbucks with me before the book signing began. He goes, I got $40 million in real estate. I have 81 doors. I have $10 million of equity in the property. I got $30 million, 30 left on my mortgages. And I've got 0 life insurance. So if something happens to him, who's operating your properties? And he was the handyman because he wanted to save money.
I love it.
So, you know, and so, hey, bro, just he's 42 years old. Get a $80 a month policy just to at least cover the mortgages, to pay him off just in case someone
Lee, what do you mean $80 a month?
Yeah.
I understand. Term it's like what we would say in the stock market, say, just buy 1 share of stock. Just 1 share. We don't...
Get your foot in, because sometimes people think that it's more expensive than what it really is.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, that's a crazy story, and so it's really a blueprint for protecting wealth, isn't it? Keep the keys.
It is, and it blew up #1 in mortgages, #1 in buying and selling homes, #1 in real estate investing. And I'm not even in the real estate business, but these financial strategies, the real estate professionals are using it as education piece for the clients once they close the home. I just did a workshop 2 days ago, and we did one with Keller Williams. We did one with eXp Realty. All these mortgage companies and banks are wanting me to come in. And truth be told, in 08, 09, I was educating people about this stuff. I'm not having, you know, some people say, oh, well, pay off my house, pay off my house. Well, the Great Recession hit. Then your $400,000 house became a $200,000 house, and you stood at $200,000 mortgage.
Now what? Right, exactly. You really are in the real estate business. You're in the protecting the real estate business. I mean, you know.
That's right.
I mean, you know, one thing is getting your car repoed. It's another thing when they take your house away.
Ooh.
I mean, exactly right. So that's crazy. And you have the Money Smart movement, the 7-figure squad. I love that. I love that name.
Right.
The 7-figure squad.
Recently, we got to upgrade it to 8 figures, you know, because, you know, 7
I was going to say you got to tighten up a little bit, bro. I mean, you know, like there were guys that have like the 6-figure thing. I'm like, it's like insulting. It's almost insulting already.
A month? Yeah.
No, that's what I would say, a month, exactly. If in our business, you say you're shooting par. You make 100 grand a month. That's shooting par. That's what.
Yeah.
That's the minimum. I mean, you can't. How do you survive on less? How do you hold your head up and say, you're successful if you're not shooting par, in life and on the golf course, etc. So, you really wear so many hats, Matt. You have this huge insurance agency, correct? How many agents do you employ?
We have 5,000 agents across the country.
Say that again?
5,000 agents across the country, coast to coast.
5,000 agents. That's your business.
That's my business.
And what kind of numbers do they do? If you had to give me a revenue number?
So this year so far, this was as of last month, not current month, but as of last month, we did 10,500 clients have come on board buying life insurance through us. And we've done about $35 million in life insurance premium, a little over $100 million in annuities.
That's real money. I mean, that's real money. And you're 52. Mm-hmm. You still look pretty good. I see the way you fill out that suit.
I appreciate it. Listen, bro, your first wealth is your health.
That's true.
You know that, Ross. Mr. Raw Health, right? Raw Health and Fitness, you know that. But I'm very excited, Ross, about Dallas. I've been here now for 4 years. I'm excited that the New York Stock Exchange is opening up an office here.
Correct.
Texas, Wall Street, it will be officially open for business next year.
That's amazing.
I host an Ross, if you ever in Dallas, I host an event every quarter called Cigars, Wealth, and Whiskey. And this quarterly event where it's an upscale, people pay to get in. So it's an upscale masterclass. Of course, you'd be my guest. It's an upscale masterclass and networking event of the who's who of who wants to be the who's who of Dallas. And in February, I've got the Global Chief Strategy Officer, Jeff Karcher, who is running the Texas Wall Street, will be at my event. I'll be interviewing him on stage.
I love that. Wow. And I want you to know that I was a young man. I had clients in Texas, and I used to go, and I love Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, Austin. I've been all over the place. And I love the people. And to watch it evolve over the course of my adult life, it's crazy.
Yeah.
What's happening? I say Texas and Florida is the future of the United States.
Well, if you look at Texas Stock Exchange, the last time a stock exchange of this national scale has been open was 1983 with the Chicago Board of Exchange.
Yes.
So since then, a stock exchange has not been opened until now.
How crazy!
And then the next day, NASDAQ said we're opening up a parallel exchange to compete with the.
They have to, of course. Right. It's like the Uber and Lyft.
Yeah, it's right. It's right. And now there's a $40 billion AI infrastructure deal that was signed 20 minutes away from my house here for NVIDIA. NVIDIA just acquired a company here in Plano, Texas. So the largest AI infrastructure deal in America thus far is right now here in Dallas,
Correct.
Texas. So cryptocurrency, Trump signed earlier the cryptocurrency infrastructure laws. Well, right here, they're building the data centers.
American Bitcoin, ABTC, the Trump family's big investment, by the way, mining Bitcoin right in Texas.
That's right.
Right there.
So I think right now the most important city in Texas is Dallas.
Always was.
And I think the most important state in America right now is Texas.
Florida it's close, but yeah, I think you're probably right. Texas is really just friggin' booming. I mean, it's all, a lot of it's political. I hate to say it a lot, but who puts politicians in office? The people. And I love the people in the state of Texas. I've always felt really at home there and was always welcomed. And I've got a bunch of stories I'll share another time. But I want to talk more about you because, Matt, you're really, it's not like the life insurance business. You're like in the legacy business, bro.
Amen. That's right, brother.
You're in the legacy business.
Yeah. We're breaking chains, man. We're breaking generational curses and creating generational wealth. 100%. I agree with that. Yes.
Think who you are. I mean, it's just a really amazing, multiple books. I mean, thousands of employees. I mean, you're printing money in an odd way, but you're also, I feel like the insurance guys, the stockbroker guys, I always felt maybe we were taking advantage of people a little bit, trying to get people in stuff they really didn't need. They were spending a couple of $100,000 in the stock market. We were highly trained. We were like friggin' Texas Rangers at getting money. and it's
Yeah.
like pulling teeth. And some of these people had no life insurance. And I felt
Crazy.
like the life insurance guys really, they would sit down. If you look at the old TV from the 50s and the 60s,
Yeah.
the
Father
guy
knows
wore
best.
black suits, dark gray suits, and they'd be respected in the neighborhood. And they would sit you down at the kitchen table and you'd give them a cup of coffee. You know what I mean? And you'd sit there and you'd sort of do some real estate planning, you know?
Yes, right.
And I think what you do is very noble. And
Thank you.
I always looked at the stockbroker guys as a little bit, we were like cowboys. And you guys were more like, chiefs, you know what I mean? Doing the right thing for a tribe, overlooking the tribes of people. And that's a good
Right.
thing. You know what I'm saying? People are
Sure.
gambling with their money when they should be protecting themselves. Because, we talk to them about God forbid moments.
Yep.
We all
Yeah,
have
God-
them.
Sure,
I haven't
man.
met a successful person that wasn't cracked a few times, literally. Not,
Mhm.
I've never met one, and all I really do is associate with millionaires, and then
Yeah.
my whole life. I've been
Yeah.
spent my whole life chasing money since I'm a kid. So, you are really, because I hold you in very high regard because of the Marine Corps experience.
Thank you, Ross.
You've seen a side of life and of this country. You served, bro. What do they say?
Yeah.
They say, "Semper Fi, thank you for your service," right?
Yeah.
They should say that if they don't.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah,
get
well,
certain hospitals, right? You can go to the VA hospital anywhere, right? And be looked after. It's because the country holds you in esteem, and it's certainly not enough esteem. And I'm disgusted by the way veterans have been overlooked and all that. They're taking care of illegal immigrants, but not veterans. What?
Hey, isn't that
What?
crazy? Yeah, shit. Unreal. It's unreal.
It's
Pisses me
disgusting.
off. Yeah.
And to be known as the money smart guy and the founder of the money smart movement, what?
Oh man.
I
God is
mean,
good.
I mean, that's crazy. Now, you said you have kids, right? Your grandfather. Do your children understand what you do?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And they're able to take what I do and I remember my daughters when we took them to a trip to Hawaii. I took my daughter on a date. I was her first walk on the beach. I was her first dinner date. I was the first, right? She was, enjoying the Hawaiian air and the waves crashing.
So
I said, babe, what do you want to do when you grow up? She goes, Papi, I want to do what you do. I said, what's doing what? I said, Papi, I want to be in insurance. Why? Well, look, we're in Hawaii.
right. I
Right?
get it.
And so now she's in her 20s. She hasn't followed that path of being
Right.
in insurance, but she's an entrepreneur, right? She's evolving her own businesses. They got their own careers. But I told the kids, I said, you don't have to do what I do, but I want you to be in some form of sales. I want you to be in some form of control of your destiny and not depending on somebody else giving you a salary. Be that. And so they're finding their path in that. My youngest son right now, well, the two younger ones, the boys, my son's a freshman in high school. He's playing on the varsity team as a running back.
Wow.
So he wants to be a D1 athlete. I said, kid, and the coolest thing about now I got money is I can put him in the best programs, best recovery, best training.
Correct.
He's got He's got his own damn Uber Eats app on DoorDash. He spent $1,000 on food just telling me.
But it's when you're successful the way you have been, what I find is it gives your kids a chance to be better than you. It gives them a
Yes.
chance,
Yeah.
right? When you're struggling, I mean, the kids can go either way. I hate to say it. It's like a lot of horrible stories you hear and this and that. And but your kids hold you in high regard, obviously. Do they know about your struggles? Do they know that you were bankrupt, a bankrupt father of three at one point?
I gave him my book. I said, kids, I want you to read about this. You may have heard me talk about it. Put it in it because I put you in the story. And
Right.
the story I had in there was my Jimmy John's story. I said, Poppy, remember the Jimmy John's event? Because I was broke. It was negative 20 degrees in Chicago. I said, kid, even though my car got repoed, we're still going to church.
Wow.
And they remember the story. Yeah. And we left the house. We walked to the train station, took the train downtown to Chicago. And walking from this train station to the church. And my kids go, Poppy, I'm cold. And I go, how come you didn't bring your hat and gloves? And I'm yelling at them like, they're responsible. I'm responsible. I'm the dad. I should have
Correct.
made sure they left the
Correct.
house. And so we step into the Jimmy John's. And of course, it's free smells, right? And so they're like, Poppy, we're hungry. And I'm like, bro, I'm so broke right now. I don't even know if I can slap my debit card because I have no credit card. I always like to slap my debit card to get something to eat. So I go up there and I order So yeah, let me give it number 12, Tom, but just no drink. Just, just give me the chips. And I was praying. She slid that card. It felt like 30 minutes.
I know.
Slow motion, sliding the credit card, hoping it'd go through. We finally went through, thank God. We sat down. I took that Jimmy John's, broke it like communion, like Jesus, and took a bite and gave it to the kids. I saw them and said, we're never, ever going to worry about heat, car, or food ever again. That was my decisive decision to turn my life around.
Now that I'm a rookie in social media, as you know, it's my first year, and I get a lot of
great rookie year.
And I talk to people, and sometimes I get these comments like, you guys are all rich, and all your people are rich, and you guys don't know what it's like to struggle. And I'm reading some of these comments, and I'm like thinking, where do you get that friggin' idea?
No clue.
I know what it's like to be poor, homeless, hungry, scared shit. Worried about what I'm going to do. I know what it's like to be a drug addict.
Yeah.
But I also know what it's like to turn my will over to God and to be blessed.
Yeah.
But it's really I've been in prison during COVID, locked in a friggin' room for 3 months by myself with no medicine, no running water sometimes, no toilet work. I mean, you telling me, and these guys, they think that, they hear your story and they say, what do you know?
Yeah.
And we know.
Ross, you want a number one tip to blow up on social media?
I do.
Here it is. Ready for this?
Yep.
Be a complainer and offer no solutions.
Yeah.
Fastest way to grow on social media.
Be a hater, right?
Be a hater, be a complainer. They get so much shine today. And by the way, the world is rewarding the wrong thing.
Well, misery loves company, and there's a lot of miserable people. I hate to say it. Misery loves company.
Yeah.
They look at your stuff and they say, what do you know? Yeah. Because they're so shallow. And, if you're looking for hate, you're going to find it. If you're looking for questions, you're going to find it. But if you're looking for solutions, you can find that too, I learned.
That's right.
But you got to look.
Yeah.
You got to be hungry. You got to be, you got to be at it. So you live with your wife, Sheena.
Yeah. My boo-boo. My wife. Yeah.
Like Sheena, the Jungle Queen or something like that.
That's right. Exactly.
That's great.
Exactly.
And you're a Filipino.
Yeah.
From Chicago that knows what it's like to be bankrupt with children and struggle. And then you became the money guy, the smart money guy. Bro, I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, money smart guy. Absolutely, man.
And one of the things I saw that I think is very interesting for some of the more sophisticated listeners and all that is like you actually, I think you teach liquidity just over gathering equity. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, in an emergency situation, if you're a homeowner, what would you rather have, $50,000 of cash or $50,000 of walls? $50,000.
Exactly.
Because today, equity is on paper. That's paper rich. That's paper wealth.
Correct.
But what do we learn from Hurricane Katrina? What was the one in New York? The hurricane that flooded New York?
Oh, I forget, but yes, I get it. Trust me.
Yeah, Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico, Hurricane Harvey in Houston, the fires in LA, the fires in Maui. These people had equity in their home. And then when natural disasters happened, and then when natural disasters,
good luck trying to get it right.
Yeah. And so our strategy is do a strategic cash out refinance, maintain liquidity and control of your equity from your property. So separate from the property and put into a index universal life policy, put into a Roth IRA, put into something that's liquid that you can control. So therefore, in worst case scenario, the value may go down or you may lose value of the home, but you don't lose the equity from your home. Because now liquidity is the new wealth.
I agree.
Not trapped equity stuck in your house.
I agree. Being a market guy, people say to me, why do you love the markets over real estate? I say, well, I want to time my money into, from closing to closing. I can buy and sell. I could turn my stock into money in 5 seconds. I could borrow against it easier than I could borrow against my house. Easier. You just put an account on margin. They give you money the next day. You sign a paper. And so, it's highly liquid. And that's what attracted me to stock markets in the first place. I could do a deal with you today. You buy some stock from me the end of November. December 15th, I'm getting paid. I don't have to wait till something closes and settles and, there's a title search, a deed search and all that. But I love the fact that you today, with all the different derivative type, tax advantage type you know, sort of choices you have using life insurance. You're not only getting a death benefit for your family, God forbid, you can also get an accident insurance, right? If you get sick, there are all kinds of protections you can build in, right? Once you start accumulating some capital, let's say in a whole life type policy.
But by the way, those hollow policies, those index universal life policies today, Ross, are now carrying living benefits.
Wow.
So the guy that built my website for Gotcha, he was a graphic designer from Trinidad and Tobago. He's reading my content, reading my book. He says, Matt, I think I need to be your customer. And so he gets a policy from $70, $80 a month, something simple, something affordable. And then 18 months later, 38 years old, Ross, at 38 years old, he has a stroke.
Oh, gosh.
And thank God he's okay, all right. But from his life insurance policy, from the death benefit, the insurance company issued him a couple $100,000 check, and he's free to spend it however he wants to spend it. It's called living benefits.
I love that.
I
don't think people understand that. Share a little bit about it.
Yeah. So if you suffer a heart attack, stroke, cancer, complications from diabetes, complications from sickle cell anemia, complications from not being able to get around the activities of daily living. For example, our professional athlete clients, if they're laid up, they need help around the house. Older clients. Yeah, I'm speaking at a funeral this Saturday, and the client is a politician. If I said his name, everybody would know it. But he the last 18 months of his life required home health care, and they were spending $10,000 to $12,000 a month for a night nurse and a day nurse to help him around the house. And life insurance with living benefits help pay for things like that without having to get multiple policies. So modern contracts today are now embedding that rider, usually at no cost, inside the life insurance policy contract.
So these are things that people need to become educated about.
Yes.
Correct? See, I'm not even up to speed on all these different things because everything's evolved so fast. Now, let me ask you, what last questions I have is, are there different companies? There's an old axiom like, yeah, it all sounds great. And then when there's a problem, the companies don't want to pay. Now, there are a lot of insurance companies, we all know, that try to resist paying out.
Yeah.
When there's an accident or, something happens. Explain to us about this, how you overcome these type of things and how you deal with a certain type of platform, a company, et cetera.
For 26 years, I've been in the insurance business. My experience the last 26 years, I've dealt with insurance companies that have always paid a death claim or a living benefit claim. And here's why. Our clients make sure they never lie on the application. I think for us, it can be very difficult these days because of the whole, gender thing. Because, people might want to identify as a female, but they're really a male or vice versa.
Right.
But the insurance company is going to underwrite you based on what you really are.
Right.
Because that is
biologically. You're biological.
It's nothing biased about it. It's just biological because most men die before most women.
True.
Women outlast men. And if you're trying to lie in an application, try to get a cheaper policy because you identify as a woman, but you're really a dude, those are things that potentially might get you in trouble they might not pay out a claim.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. I never thought of that.
Yeah, or you're hiding other medical information in the past that they didn't dig up, and then they later found out, hey, this is a mortality issue that could have caused you to die sooner, but you didn't say anything about it. Then you're giving the insurance company, hey, based on what you told us, we gave you insurance policy, but you lied to us.
Right.
You're giving an out to that life insurance company.
Interesting.
To issue the policy. So those are the things that we've seen in the past where life insurance companies would not pay a claim. And people ask, what about suicide? We've even seen people, sadly, I'm not trying to say you're thinking that your wheelhouse, but people had a policy with sadly committed suicide. The insurance company paid out. So the conversation about insurance companies not paying, it's much different than a car insurance or homeowners insurance policy.
That's a big distinction.
Yeah, because
they're notorious for not paying. I hate to say, especially the homeowner stuff.
That's right, and all those premiums are going up.
Yeah,
but crazy. Life insurance, the only thing you want to maybe 1 or 2 times your entire life, either a living benefit or sadly a death benefit. So, like Warren Buffett, he said, "I love the life insurance industry," and we all know Berkshire Hathaway's got they're large and
enormous.
Yeah, because they insurance people get the float money, meaning they get to hold on to your money, invest in money for 10, 20, 30 years before they even have to ever pay out a claim.
They
That's why
got those
like-
actuaries sitting in a room. Used to be before computers and calculators, a bunch of guys with glasses that went to, Harvard and MIT, figuring out how you can make money. So listen, we're about to wrap up. I just want to ask, is there anything else you want to share that we haven't covered? Because what a guy you are.
I appreciate that, brother. Yeah, I just want to say that today's a day that if you're listening to this and you're watching this or you follow my brand and Ross, today's the day where you can be a massive, massive success story. Because today, over 400 new millionaires are being minted in America every day.
Every day.
Regardless of what you see in the stock market, regardless of what you see in the news, regardless of what you see going on, but millionaires are being made in this country more than any other country in the world. If you combine number 2 country, which is China, to the number 7 country, which is France, and you combine them together, they don't have more millionaires than in America. And I love this country.
Amen.
I love what we stand for. I love what you stand for, which is capitalism, because it gives the common guy, it's not perfect, but it gives the common guy a financial shot to make their dreams a reality. I appreciate you, Ross. Honored to be on your show, to have this conversation. I've admired you from afar. And I look forward to having you on my podcast. I'd love to.
I'm ready to go whenever you're ready. My team has said to me, I have a feeling you and Matt are going to really, really click. And I have to say, I'm glad that my team holds me in such high regard, because I hold you in a very elevated spot. Proud to have you on the show. I can't wait to collaborate with you on other things. And thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Ross. Appreciate it. Semper Fi. God bless.
Semper Fi. God bless America.